So the media, which is completely incapable of understanding the public, they are so disconnected, are still trying to figure out why and how President Trump won in 2016. But of course, because they are completely delusional and out of touch with reality, they keep missing what the real lessons are as they seek to promote their narrative. Oh, what is the real reason why President Trump got elected? Well, it's because there's an ugly, horrible, negative, evil shift in the United States towards racism and intolerance. Now, here's PBS interviewing some moron trying to find a way to explain Trump's victory in 2016.
Quote, whether Trump had changed the Republican Party or a changed Republican Party had produced Trump seems suddenly immaterial. The fact is that Trump had sensed something in the country others hadn't. Trump had arrived with the message at precisely the right time, with precisely the tone to fit the angry times. Jerry, what exactly did Trump see that others missed?
Well, look, I think he realized, first of all, the Republican Party had changed. Not just that the country had, but particularly the Republican Party had changed. You know, the Republican Party morphed a lot in the 4 decades since Ronald Reagan took over and launched the Reagan Revolution to today and the Trump era. It changed in particular because there was a demographic change in the Republican Party. A lot of working class Americans moved into the Republican Party for cultural reasons. They don't like abortion rights, don't like gay rights, don't like transgender rights, like the Republican message on cultural issues, don't like immigration in particular. But they arrived in the Republican Party and saw an economic formula that both parties had kind of embraced that said globalization is good, free trade is good, immigration is an economic plus for the country, and these people did not see that helped them at all. That was not their economy. That was not the message they wanted to hear. And Donald Trump realized that in a way that other politicians didn't.
Now I am getting very sick of this. The left proclaiming that they are undoubtedly right about everything, and therefore the only reason to oppose them, the only reason to vote against them, the only reason that you don't support their policies must be because of racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia. It can't be because their policies absolutely suck. It can't be based off of facts, data, and our own personal experiences that lead us to different conclusions. No. None of those things could ever be the possibility. It must all be on hate and intolerance, because the left views any political opponent as evil people with ideas, whereas the right goes off and looks at the Democrats and say, these are people with bad ideas. You understand the difference there? The left is so arrogant that they are completely incapable of ever understanding in any way, shape, or form what led to the rise of Donald Trump. And because of their refusal to actually learn the lessons, they're going to continue to make that mistake. Now, what led to the rise of President Trump? We, the people, wanted change in D.C. We have been voting in multiple elections for someone to go off and change. And yet, previous change agents just went off to D.C. and went on business as usual. So, surprise, surprise, we decided that, hey, if we want different results, we got to vote for different people. If continuing to vote for career politicians keeps producing one set of results, and we want this set of results over here, then chances are we need to vote for the non-career politician. Someone who understands people, who understands what the average person, thinks, and having engaged with us. So we went with a different type of candidate. That's the simple truth. We went for the non-career politician because career politicians, voting for them repeatedly, didn't get us the results we wanted, didn't get us the change we were looking for. So yes, we took a risk. And guess what? That risk has been well rewarded. President Trump has been one of the best presidents in American history. In at least 2 generations has been the best president. I'd say he's even surpassed Reagan as a great president at this particular point in time. So it's not because of racism and intolerance. Now, some people have begun to call out the media for their hyperbolic fear-mongering, and how hypocritical they are, and how recent events have proven that they don't believe half the crap they spew. So let's take a look at The Hill from their YouTube channel and their show The Rising, calling out the media for their hyperbolical BS.
It's now commonplace in Democratic discourse to explicitly say that Trump is a fascist dictator, and even to invoke Hitler and Nazism to suggest that that's the proper prism through which we ought to understand the Trump presidency. And if that's the case, if Trump is some kind of a fascist dictator who is posing to end American democracy and freedoms, or has already done so, who puts dissidents in danger, then you would expect the reaction to news that he has a fatal disease and might die not to be one of sorrow and lament, but one of joy and celebration. That's typically how people react when dictators are ill, or when they're in danger, or when they die. And so there's this obvious tension, this conflict between, on the one hand, claiming Trump is like Hitler, or is imposing fascist white supremacy tyranny on the United States, and on the other hand saying, we wish you a speedy recovery, Mr. President. We hope that you get back really soon to the fascist tyranny and genocide that you're imposing on the United States. And I thought it was worth exploring what accounts for that tension.
So there you have it, folks. A simple analysis. If you believe that President Trump was an authoritarian dictator seeking to destroy the United States, then when he comes down sick with a possible life-threatening situation, you don't wish him well. You don't wish him a speedy recovery. No, you would celebrate that fact. But the fact that they go off and, he is horrible. He's destroying America. He is destroying democracy. He is the worst authoritarian tyrant. But we wish you well. We wish you a speedy recovery. It goes to show that when it comes to the media, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, they're not journalists seeking to inform you of the truth about the events that are happening in the country and around our lives. No, they are playing to a base. They are an extension of the Democrat marketing arm. They're not there to inform anybody of anything. They're just there to present confirmation bias. They're just there to play to a crowd for ratings. Why? Because ratings drive ad revenues. Ad revenues drive profits, profits which pay their multi-million-dollar salaries. So they're only there to play to the base, telling the Democrats what they want to hear, to reassure them that their arrogance is justified, that their ego is, perfectly well within balance and check, that their views are unquestionably right, and that anybody who dares question them, anyone who dares disagree with them, it can't be based off of facts, data, or experience, but out of hatred and intolerance. Therefore, you don't have to listen to them. All right, the media has no interest in an informed republic. They only care about narratives, playing to a base, engaging in confirmation bias so that they can drive up ratings and profits, while destroying and keeping us separated and divided. They promote the violence because violence drives ratings. They don't care about the truth, and they prove it every single day. And I am glad that The Rising, The Hill, which, I don't agree with much of what they say, but every so often they do get something right and, pretty well accurate, just as they did here. But just as they had pointed out, that they go off and they claim endlessly that President Trump is destroying the country, a horrible authoritarian dictator that seeks to kill millions of people, and then they wish him well, that alone is all the evidence that you need that they are engaging in hyperbolic BS, because they only want to play to a base, because they believe that just engaging in dishonorable conduct, journalistic malfeasance, is the best way to compete, and that honest, responsible, fact-based journalism just won't drive them the profit. They're about entertainment, not information, or maybe infotainment, but they're more about just telling people that, yes, you are undoubtedly right if you believe in the Democrats, and anybody who disagrees with you, cannot in any way, shape, or form be doing so based off of fact. But you know what? We all see through it. Even the people that listen to CNN, even the people that watch MSNBC, they know that they are liars. They know that they are dishonest and untrustworthy. But they go there anyways because they're not seeking the truth. They're seeking to be reassured in their delusional fantasies.